from the good state of Oregon, Mr. Walden.
I thank the gentleman from Michigan. I want to stand up on his behalf. I was going to potentially move to have the gentleman from California's words taken down when he was taking the shot at you about age, that, you know, his dams were closer to your age than his.
Good thing is that I look younger still.
That's right. I want to welcome our witnesses, and especially Kieran Connolly, who's with the Bonneville Power Administration. We're glad you're here. You all do a great job out in Oregon and for the Northwest. One of the many challenges and advantages, frankly, a great advantage of living in Oregon is the plentiful supply of affordable, reliable, and clean hydropower. Hydropower is great for homeowners as well as job-creating businesses. We know that well in the Northwest. However, even in the Pacific Northwest, we have additional opportunities, as we do across the country, to take greater advantage of this valuable resource. This hearing is a crucial step in the Energy Subcommittee's efforts to modernize our nation's electricity infrastructure, and today we'll focus on the challenges and opportunities in expanding hydropower generation. You know, for over a century, hydropower has provided electricity to millions of Americans across our nation. The United States and Canada led the way in hydropower engineering for the first half of the 20th century. In 1936, the Hoover Dam became the world's largest hydroelectric plant, generating 1,345 megawatts. 6 years later, 1942, the Grand Coulee Dam in Washington State surpassed the Hoover Dam in electricity generation capacity. As a footnote, when Richard Nixon came out to the Dalles, Oregon to dedicate the Dalles Dam, my father was the master of ceremonies for those days' activities. And so this has gone on for generations. And obviously, in my home state of Oregon, hydropower is one of the largest sources of electricity generation and provides over half of Oregon's electricity generation needs. In fact, Mr. Connolly, representing BPA, his organization is responsible for marketing the Northwest wholesale electrical hydropower. So I look forward to hearing more about Bonneville's balance, how you balance the various objectives while carrying out your mission of producing and delivering reliable, affordable power to consumers across the Pacific Northwest. You get kind of wrapped around the axle by governors and courts and interest groups of all sides, so it is a challenge. Electricity generated from hydropower allows for a diverse energy mix, which in turn increases our nation's energy security and reliability. A recent DOE report found that U.S. hydropower production could grow by almost 50% by year 2050. I know a lot of that's up in Alaska. This potential increase in hydropower production would boost job growth, increase economic investment, facilitate the use of wind and other intermittent renewables, and avoid harmful emissions from the electric power sector. In reading through the various testimonies that you all submitted, I found it very interesting on the pump storage piece and the limits and opportunities on hydro and what's involved there, and the important to get the right balance, and how we can harness all those to really work with the renewable energy resources as well, because getting that grid balanced right is very important. And I've seen the swings and the charts of wind energy, 1,000 megawatts up 1 hour and down the next, and somehow you make all that work. Despite the numerous benefits of hydropower, the greatest impediment facing its growth is the regulatory process. Take the Bowman Dam in Crook County, Oregon, for example. For many years, I and some others in the delegation worked to pass legislation to help pave the way for future hydropower and jobs in Central Oregon. Even after the bill was passed unanimously and signed into law in 2014, it took more than a year for that new law to be implemented. But it's not just the delays. The licensing of new hydropower facilities and the relicensing of existing facilities is really costly and takes forever. The process often requires 7 to 10 years to complete and costs tens of millions of dollars. We'd like to find a way to streamline that, frankly, but recognizing the importance of stakeholders having an opportunity to make their case. As I've stated before, my objectives at the committee are start with the consumer. If we put the consumer first in our discussion, we'll end up with really good public policy. A diverse energy mix empowers consumers by giving them choices in different energy sources. The electricity generated by hydropower is as clean and renewable as it gets. When it comes to improving our nation's laws regarding hydropower development, we in Congress have the opportunity to reach across the aisle. And I think we can get some good things done for the environment, for reduction of carbon emissions, and for the economy. And as this subcommittee continues its efforts to modernize our nation's energy infrastructure through technology-neutral improvements and expansion, we have to bring greater transparency, efficiency, and accountability to the regulatory process affecting hydropower and more. So again, thank you for your testimony. I'm juggling between two subcommittees. You probably see other members doing that. We do the nation's work here, and we really appreciate your contributing to our public policy debate discussion. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back.